What's good? What's good? What's good? What is good? This is RawTruth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Please like and share this video throughout all social media platforms. And yes, today's my birthday, but before I go out and have some fun, I want to talk about this upcoming season. As you know, this off season, and yes, this is live. Shout out to my brother Doc Holiday of HBCU Overdrive. He said, "Happy birthday, bro! Thank you for that, man." And if you want to show love to your boy, hey, the Cash App is right there, or Super Chat. All is welcome as we build this channel up. But one of my subscribers hit me up and said, "What if Jackson State or FAMU? What if those two they have great years but don't win the SWAC?" That's a good question. Who would be the teams to win it if it's not Jackson State or FAMU? Before I go there, FAMU will definitely be the team with the most pressure. Make sure to hit the like button and share this video if you can. Here's why FAMU is going to have the most pressure. In the HBCU community, it seems like all the the voters of rankings, etc., have FAMU as number one. And they return a lot of players. And they have Jeremy Musa back. So they have a graduate senior. Will FAMU handle that pressure of being the hunted? Or will they embrace it? Could you imagine if FAMU loses to Jackson State or loses 2 games? How would they react? But what if FAMU goes undefeated in the SWAC? Hypothetically, if FAMU goes undefeated in the SWAC, they will win the Celebration Bowl. I'm saying it right now. And it's no disrespect to the MEAC. I respect the MEAC. I respect every team there, especially the reigning champs, North Carolina Central. But I don't think people realize how tough the SWAC is going to be. Oh, yeah, Doc, I'm going to send you the link right now. So I want to show y'all something. This was the voting of shout out to HBCU Nightly of predictions. Now, as we know, predictions are only just that, predictions. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a legit thing. Because as in football, it's all settled on the field as we know about this sport. But if you see there, FAMU 10-1. If FAMU goes 10-1, that's impressive. Alcorn 10-1. Now, in that panel, I don't know why they believe they're going to be 10-1. They're going to be having a great running game with Howard. They have a great defense and coached by one of the best coaches in the SWAC and Coach McNair. But 10-1 for Alcorn State, that's a little bit too rich for my blood. Now, the prediction that got an aggressive reaction, of course, is Jackson State being 7-4. Now, I got my brother Doc in the building. What's good, Doc?
What's good, man? Happy birthday, bro.
Man, thank you, man. I'm 31 now.
Man, I wish I was 31 again. I think I got drunk on when I turned. I
Hey,
think when I turned 31, I got drunk on my birthday.
yeah, I'm trying to do this stream right now so I can have some fun later on. You know how it is. uh, Player Circle says FAMU one loss going to come to Jackson State. That would be a good win for JSU if they could beat FAMU. Uh, now, Doc. Now, I'm not gonna, like I said earlier in this stream, I'm not gonna be too emotional about predictions and stuff because that's what it is. It's just predictions.
Yeah.
But I let them know this was voted on HBCU Nightly. They do a great job. Do you think Alcorn State will be 10-1?
No, they won't be 10-1. I said this on my show last night, and I think I said this on Friday, was not Friday, but it was Saturday night. I don't think Alcorn will be 10-1 because for one, um, if he beats out Aaron Allen, you're bringing in a new quarterback into your whole system. You did lose your office, your not offensive, but you lose your defensive line coach, and you lost your secondary coach to your rival. But you still got your defensive coordinator there. The defensive line is still good, it's still intact. But and the main thing that you have is Jarvion Howard. But you just can't rely too much on Jarvion because of the simple fact that teams now are gonna they got film on this kid. Now they're gonna load the box 8, 9, they're gonna load the box up. And if you don't have a consistent passing game to complement your run game, then you're probably gonna go 5-6 or 6-5. Now, being that all corners in the West is wide open, y'all. The West is wide open. Um, you got to deal with teams in the West. Prairie View is for one. You got to deal with them. Um, Texas Southern is coming back with uh all the players that came up in 21, so they have continuity right there. Plus, they bring back starting quarterback Andrew Body. He had all-season surgery. Um, he should be good. He should be good and ready to go uh by season opener. And this is, coming from people that's close to the program at Texas Southern. So look for Andrew to be coming in and hopefully not missing a beat. And then also you got an addition with Quay Davis coming in, transferring from Jackson State, going to Texas Southern. That combination could be deadly. We don't know yet. I mean, that's the reason why it's a way too early prediction. That's the reason why it's it's preseason. So it gets people to talk. Um, Grambling has a chance to go, make some noise in the West. Hugh Jackson done a lot of recruiting, done um as far as going into the portal, recruiting the high school, the JUCO, and then you get a quarterback like Miles Crawley transferring in from Alabama State. Um, it all depends on how they first game is. When they go to New Jersey, they play not Howard, but Hampton.
Yeah, can you hear me, Doc?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you. And then the last one is Southern. Southern is unproven because you don't know who their quarterback is. They do have a bevy of running backs. Uh, the thing about it is you got to fix the defensive line. They all gone. Everybody on that defensive line from last season is gone. So you got to come up with unproven. So, and that's just in the West.
Bro. Um, how do I sound now?
You good? You good?
Yeah, FAMU. Hollow says 10-1 is not so far fetched at FAMU. We've been going 9-2 for the last 4 seasons. Uh, our argument was Alcorn State. FAMU going 10-1 is more believable than Alcorn State going 10-1. And
Right.
it's nothing against Alcorn State. It's just that FAMU got more weapons. They got a quarterback who's a graduate senior. But he's a 6-year senior. So there's not too many things he hasn't seen.
True.
And you have a returning defense, the sack leader, their edge rusher returned. He was in the portal, had all types of teams from the FBS that wanted him, came right back.
That's true. But the thing about this is when you talk about FAMU, it's still the same team that got their head beat in by Jackson 59-3 to start off the season.
Yeah.
And the question is, did Willie fix the running game? Did he fix the running game? Because the running game was atrocious. Out, out of 11 games last season, FAMU only mustered up like 1,000 yards. You were dead. FAMU was dead last when it came to rushing offense. Dead last. So what does that mean? That means Jeremy Musa had to do a lot more to compensate for the lack of rushing that you had on the team. Now, the thing about Musa is you don't have Xavier Smith no more. He gone. He in LA. He with the Rams. You know what I'm saying? Who is your go-to receiver? And are you going to be able to is he able to read progressions? That I think that was the one thing that I we saw with Musa that he lacked. He was not good at. He was not good at reading his progressions.
And Doc, in fairness of, and I'm not echoing, right? Let me check the sound real quick. In fairness to FAMU, bro, their offensive line has been reshuffled and added key additions. They had the brother from LSU who should
Yeah,
contribute right away. So they're not going to look the same. I expect improvement from the running game. The running backs are talented. I don't think it's due to lack of talent. They look the part, uh, just strong power backs. Uh, I think the improved running game is going to make it easier on Musa to not do so much.
right.
When you play FAMU, I'm sure teams are going to try to spot the number one receiver. As you know, Musa, the only knock to his game when he has a number one wide receiver, he tends to key in on that number one wide receiver a little bit too long,
Too long. Yeah.
and that's a known fact. So if he can spread the ball, distribute the ball um, equally, then you're going to have a balanced FAMU offense that, quite frankly, uh, this is why I said the first 2 games is going to tell me a lot about FAMU.
Right.
It's just like Jackson State. The first 2 games of them, they're going to tell me a lot about it, about their team. If that running game is as improved as I think it will be, then it will be trouble for a lot of SWAC teams.
True.
Oh, there was a comment on here that was interesting. Let me see. I think Hollows. Someone said Player Circle says, "What are the 4 games we're gonna lose?" Meaning Jackson State.
Well, they said this is what the panel said. Um, well, the first game they had us winning against South Carolina State in Atlanta, and then they said the second game they had FAMU beating us. Um, the third game, so that's 1-1. So the third game, they said that we was gonna lose to Southern, so we'll be 1-2, and then the fourth game we were gonna lose to Texas State, so it'll be 1-3. I think the other game they said was we were gonna lose against Alcorn. That's how they brought up the Alcorn being 10-1. I told them I don't see it. I don't see it that way because like I said, with South Carolina State, yeah, you said we will be South Carolina State. We could be South Carolina State. They do return that, some guys on a defensive line. They do have a proven quarterback in Corey Fields, but which Corey Fields is gonna show up? Uh with FAMU, you know what I'm saying? To me, I just say like this, it'll be a nail biter. That game could be a push. It could be what I'm saying, we could have you could have a push on that game. Southern, we with Southern, um, if Dooley don't do Dooley it up, I mean, Dooley gave us a gift. And if he lose this game, they lose that game to Jackson three what
3 straight years.
three straight years, 3 times in the last year. You put it to be exact. Then does his seat get warm? Does his seat get hot? Because that's your rival. You got to beat your rival. And then the Texas State game is the one where, like I said, that's where I have questions because the simple fact that Texas State is, I mean, they got a new head coach. Jack State got a new head coach. I mean, and GJ Kinney is no slouch. He had an offensive juggernaut at UIW, and some of the players that he had on that team, they're at Texas State. But let's not just say we gonna give they're gonna give in and say, well, they're FBS team, because I feel like they're gonna go out there and play hard.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is TC is a new head coach, right?
Right.
Um, how we don't know what he's gonna be like when his feet get when his feet is under the fire. We don't know what is he gonna be like when the pressure is up. We don't know that. We won't know that till August 26th. And the fact that people was saying, well, you have a new team. We all have a new team. I think almost everybody in the Swac kind of like has a new team. They
Eh,
have a mix of old and new players. Everybody has that. Everybody in college football has that.
That's true, bro. And shout out to Hoop Jargon Media Network, man. He says, salute to DJ, salute to you, and thank you everyone that's sending me cash apps on my birthday, man. It's appreciated. It's all love at the end of the day. Your boy's 31 and counting. So, but back to this topic. I was talking to a JSU fan on the DMs, and it was talking about how just motivated the players are. They don't
Right.
feel like they're the defending SWAC champions, and they feel like um, people are treating them like, oh, since Dion is leaving, since Prom is leaving,
We were supposed to take a back seat.
yeah. And the biggest lie is people are saying, oh, Jackson State fans are not realistic. It's not that some Jackson State fans, some of them think they're going to go undefeated. Some of them think they're going to lose 2 games. So it's part of the fan experience. It's just the predictions of 5 losses, 6 losses that doesn't even make sense. In people saying that TC Taylor he may not do as good of a job. I think TC Taylor, he would be a hell of a head coach because one thing he has done so far, besides recruiting really well, is he's a relationships coach. He's
Right,
able to talk to his players and understand where they're coming from and bond with them. Because most coaches, as you know, they treat you like another player. But a coach like TC Taylor, he's been a college athlete. He's played in the NFL for a little bit before his injury. He's dealt with adversity. He uh, rose up to the coaching ranks, nothing given to him.
right,
And one thing they're not even talking about with Jackson State, the coordinators are damn good. I don't think people realize how great of an offensive coordinator Maurice Harris is.
right. My thing too is that whole narrative is that TC is a first year head coach. You got to realize Dion was a first year head coach. Yeah, you got to realize Eddie Robinson Jr. was a first year head coach. Um, I mean, well, uh, take the narrative with Dion. Basically the only blemish we had on the record when he in the fall was against Louisiana Monroe. Um, he ran through the Swac, and he did it for 2 years. He did it for 2 straight years. Ran through the Swac. He's 20-0 in the Swac. Just think about that. 20 and
Mm-hmm.
0 in the Swac. I mean, and yeah, he went 4-3 in year one, but I'm everybody who played the spring season, I look at it as an evaluation season. Especially if you was a first year head coach. To me, I looked at it as evaluation season. It did count, but I look at it as like you evaluation.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And shout out to the Blitz City podcast, man. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes, bro. Um, now they was talking about TC. TC Taylor was a 5-time conference champ at the MEAC, two with the SWAC. He has credentials. That's why he deserves to be the head coach. I like what Hoop Jargon said. This is a different perspective, but it's fair. He said TC is a good coach, but first time head coach. It's a learning curve. We got to know that, but we also got to give uh, new coaches a chance to build their team. Because I've always pointed out, if TC was at another team in the SWAC, he would get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you get the benefit of the doubt.
But since he's at Jackson, and you know how it is, when you win a lot, you want a team that wins a lot to lose. Um, now it's some tend to be unrealistic, but I'm telling you right now, if Jackson State has a really good winning record, not no 7-4, but a really good win. Let's say Jackson State go 9-2. This is hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
For a first year head coach, that's very impressive.
Right.
And I don't want to hear anything from shines and buffoons who would discredit that. Let's say that Jackson State they lose a close game to FAMU and lose to Texas State, but beat everybody else. Is that a bad year? Now, fans will be like, "Yeah, he lost to FAMU," and they will shit on that. But if FAMU beats Jackson State and run the table, then that means FAMU's that damn good. See, we got to bring back giving props to teams.
Yeah.
See, what we're doing is when someone loses a game, we shit on teams and act like they're not that good instead of saying they're that great. So if FAMU wins that game and they win the SWAC, I'm saying it right now. If FAMU wins that game and win the SWAC, they're winning the Celebration Bowl. And I respect North Carolina Central, and I think that Davis Richards is a damn
Is
good quarterback that needs to be
hell of
drafted.
a hell of a quarterback.
Yes,
You see, even teams in
but
the MEAC got questionable
if
games
it,
though
I just
too.
yeah they do. Jordan uh Haddon says, I hate when teams are like this. Alcorn ceiling is high, but it can be very low because so many swing games. There's a lot of swing games. There's a lot of swing games, man. No one's talking about it. And we respect Alcorn, but you never know what these teams can do. Let me give an example. Grambling State. The
Oh yeah.
unknown what they could do with an upgraded quarterback. And Chavez is good. He's a freshman. But bringing in Miles Crawley with Hugh Jackson. Miles Crawley, if you don't know, is at the Manning passing camp. He was invited to it. So he's going to be learning some things to grow his game.
Mm-hmm.
Prairie View ain't them. Them pass more, but
But see, with Prairie View,
that
their offense, their
run
their 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 offense fit them.
game with Caleb Johnson is. We don't know what these records are going to look like. See, what we're looking at on the screen, my brother, right?
Yep.
We don't even know what the SWAC records are going to be looking like with these teams because of the unknown. I'm going to give an example. Mississippi Valley State, who improved their roster, as we know. They got a quarterback from New Mexico State who's played in games.
Mm-hmm.
What if he comes in and does really well, which could happen?
Mm-hmm.
That changes things. A quarterback in the SWAC that has played in the FBS, just like Jeremy Musa when he came in. Remember when Jeremy Musa came in, people
Yeah,
were
people
saying,
poo-pooed
well, he
on him.
played at Vanderbilt. He didn't start. Right. He only came in backup duty. But he's played in the SEC. I don't care if it was a
I
backup.
mean, you could
And
say the
guess what
same
Jeremy
thing
Musa
about
did when
you.
he came into the SWAC? He dominated.
You
We
could
saying,
say the
brother?
same thing about Jason Brown. You could say the same thing about Jason Brown.
Talk to
Jason
him.
Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Brown played in the FCS. He was started at St. Francis. The man threw for 3,000 yards and over a little bit over 20 touchdowns in that season. He gets to South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? He showed what he could do in the SEC, and then he brings himself to Jackson State. Hey, when that
The video I made. Oh, sorry about that, bro.
mm-mm,
I was
you
telling
go
you
ahead.
the video I made the other day, right? Speaking of Jason Brown, it's not a bad thing when you didn't start because of Spencer Rattler, who's the NFL prospect, was starting. Let's not forget that.
Yep,
And the games I did see him play, was it Georgia? One of those games where he had to play because Spencer was injured or had a concussion.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. I liked what I saw from Jason Brown, a strong, sturdy quarterback who knows how to manage the game. And he's
Mm-hmm.
hard to take down, man. This quarterback is strong as an ox. He's going to provide a different element to Jackson State. Now, I'm not saying he's better than Shadura, but I'm saying he brings in a different type of physicality at the quarterback position that Jackson State hasn't had in a while. So he's going to be able to buy time to make big throws.
Right. That's why you can say with like I tell you, Bliss City talking about with Kobe. He said Jacoby and Morgan. He was at Syracuse. He shined in a couple of games. He got the arm talent and he's mobile. He can run. And then you don't teach 6'4", 235 either.
Hell, we said that he has the highest
I think your audio was going out in and out. Let me see something.
Yeah, this should work right now. Hello? Hey, family, tell me if my audio's good. Let me get this fixed real quick. Let me add Doc. Hey, Doc, can you hear me
Mm.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, we got it fixed. Sorry about that, family. Let me see. Let me read some of these comments. Mr. Campbell says Grambling has a scheduling advantage because they do not have to play JSU or FAMU. That is something that is not
That's
talked
true.
about.
That is true. But they sure do got to play that. They sure got to play them the three other teams in the West.
Hmm. Now, Doc, how do you feel about Alabama A&M? Now they predicted 7-4 from that team. I don't see it from Alabama A&M, and I believe that Coach Maynard is a great offensive mind. What do you think they would do?
Well, let me go to the schedule because we talked. I think we talked about that schedule too. No, we didn't talk about that schedule, but let me go to it if I can find it on my phone. So, all right, I pulled up that schedule. So, their first game of the season, they play Vanderbilt. Okay, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt ain't gonna blow them out. I mean, Vanderbilt might is gonna beat them, but it's Vanderbilt. All right. The second game of the season is against Lane College. Now, Lane has been able to give teams like Tennessee State fits. Um, but I kind of see this game going in the direction of A&M. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, keep going.
okay. All right. So the next game is against Southern. They down in Baton Rouge. This is a swing game. This is a swing game for me. And the reason why I say it's a swing game for me is because you got to try to see who's going to be the actual starting quarterback for Southern. And Alabama A&M is kind of like in the same predicament, but I would suggest that they go with Xavier Langford. Um,
Yeah, I agree with Langford because Langford has that running ability, bro.
right.
Like he's and what Maynard has to do with Langford, they like to pass, but they have to play to his strengths. If Alabama A&M plays to Xavier Langford's strengths, they could do something. There was times when, because if you watch Alabama A&M, there
Mm-hmm.
weren't that many design quarterback runs at all.
Mm. Nah, it wasn't. Um, Pine Bluff, that'll be a win for Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff is basically in rebuild mode. Then they got homecoming against Tuskegee. They should beat Tuskegee. I don't think soundly, but they should beat Tuskegee. Gulf Coast Classic against Jackson State. I think they lose. They will. Well, I ain't gonna think they will lose that game. Um, they'll probably make it close, but they'll lose that game. Now here's the game they play against Grambling. down in the hole. And for those y'all know, it is hard to beat Grambling at the hole. It is hard to beat that team in the hole. So so it's hard to beat that team in the hole. They'll lose that game. They will lose that game in the hole. They had the Magic City Classic against Alabama State. I have them losing that game again. Uh, they play FAMU in Huntsville. I have FAMU winning that game right there. They play Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach. They will be Bethune because Bethune is in rebuild mode. And
Hey
then
Doc, we didn't even talk about this, and I'm glad the Blue Bloods pointed it out, my brother.
oh
The
yeah,
transfer quarterback from UT Martin.
say he's gonna be the starter.
Yeah, that could be. Well, he's like
Now,
6'6".
if he's the starter, I hope and pray that Maynard don't do no QB carousel like he did last season.
Oh hell no, hell no. I don't want that happening, bro.
And against Valley, they're playing in Huntsville. They should be Valley. I don't think. Well, no, Valley had their number last season, but they played them in Itabena. Um, that might be a swing game too. That might be a swing
Yeah,
game.
yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I don't
I
see
agree.
7-4 for Alabama A&M. I see them like 5-6, 6-5. I don't see 7-4.
Okay, I'm gonna be fair with Alabama A&M. I think about 6-5 because I think the quarterback that they got to transfer from UT Martin, this good build 6'6". He's played in a good conference. He played actually before he went to UT Martin. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blue Bloods. He was at Georgia State. He's actually played in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think Blue told he was at Georgia State before he got them to a bowl game in 2020 during the COVID year.
And brother Hollow, these are not our rankings. This is a ranking of a panel of HBCU. Uh, uh, sorry, I get them confused. Nightly HBCU Nightly had a panel, and this was the rankings, preseason rankings that were voted on.
Yeah, I was on that panel also, but it was some things I said I didn't. I knew in certain games I did not agree with them on that. Like saying Grambling could go 7-4. I did not agree with them going 7-4. Now if they go 6-5, that's a better improvement. That's a that's a three game that's a 3 game improvement right there.
Facts.
Uh
Blue
Prairie
Blood says,
yeah, he won the MVP. Yeah, he told me that.
"Go." If what you say about Preview?
I don't think Prairie View will go 6-5. I don't I think
So PV
PV going 6-5. I don't see them going 6-5.
No, I got a lot of respect for PV and like ball control offense, running game, and identity.
Mm-hmm. PB know what their identity is. Their identity is not what they had with Juwan Pass to throw for like 2,500 yards or 3,000 yards. Their identity is to run the ball. Is to control the clock. Now, if the thing about it is Trayshawn Conley is he becomes a better passer. If he could become a better passer, you could see him going for like 1,900, 2,000 yards running and probably like another 600, 700 yards on the ground.
Yeah, man. Caleb Johnson, man. If you talking about all the players that transferred to the right place, Caleb Johnson going to PV is a match made in heaven. Man, when he went to that visit, he probably committed so quickly. The coaches are probably like, man, that's damn quick.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't never played on the offensive line this damn good.
Mm-mm. And then he had knick-knack injuries last season, so he was banged up because he was, what I'm saying, he was a workhorse in 21. And then, he was the main focal point in 22, but he was banged up. They keyed in on him. Now him being in an offense where he could be the focal point, but he's not really the focal point because they have other running backs that can take the load off of him. I can see Caleb Johnson going for like 800, and then you got your other running back going for like another 600 plus Conley with probably like
For
600 yards rushing.
800, you don't see Caleb Johnson going for 1,000 plus.
I mean, he could go for 1,000 plus, but the offense don't dictate that though, because the offense is basically you share the ball, you share the ball with your running backs.
Okay, if he had 800, do you see Caleb Johnson having 800 plus yards and 600 receiving, 400 to 600 receiving yards?
That could happen. That could happen.
So 1,000 plus total yards, both receiving and rushing. Okay, I can see that.
Right.
The Blue Blood says something interesting. He says the only issue, the only issue with the way voting was done is that it was majority rules. So everyone had a different upset picks, with which caused the all
Alcorn to
Quarantino
go.
upset. Yep.
Yeah, if you listen to that show on last weekend, then you will understand like some people had it to like where I don't see Alcorn winning. A lot other people seen it like where I see them winning because such and such team is in such and such disarray or they're such and such rebuilding. Or let's just say the other team lost a lot of players. Like everybody lost players. Everybody lost players. It's how you can take that loss into a game with players coming in.
Yeah, it's about that's where coaching comes from. How do you adjust? How do you build on the talent that you recruited via high school and transfer portal? A lot of coaches about to make their money this year. Every coach in the Swac thinks that they can win the Swac championship,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because Dion left. But really, the truth be told, if anyone decides on overlooking Jackson State and thinking they're not going to be as good this year, you're gonna get your ass kicked. I'm letting you know. For those who are listening, you're gonna get your ass kicked, and you're gonna be like, man, we should have took that team seriously. Because these players that play for JSU, they hear all of it. They're not gonna admit it, but they hear it all. And I wouldn't overlook them.
Yeah, I wasn't overlooking either. And then, like you said, the schedule. My thing too is for FAMU. The schedule favors them. The schedule favors them.
Hey, bro, I hope I'm not like one of the few people that thinks this. I wish the FAMU Jackson State game would be at the end of the year.
Well, it'll be in the middle of the year because remember they got to play. They play Bethune Cookman at the end,
Oh yeah, that's
and
true.
we play
Rivalry.
all. Yeah, we play Alcorn at the end. So it'll be so next year it'll be back in the middle of the season.
Speaking of Bethune, them going 2-9. Uh, Shout out to Bethune Cookman, man. They're trying. They're trying to do it right, and they're trying to get back to what they used to be. People forget there was a time Bethune Cookman was the kings of the MEAC at one point,
Mm-hmm.
whooping up on teams, man, and they're trying to get back to it. But shout out to the coaching staff there. Shout out to the players. Uh, do you think that is justified 2-9 from Bethune?
Maybe 3-8, either maybe 3-8 or 4-7.
Yeah, there's somebody's gonna get upsetted by Bethune. It's just a matter of who. Yeah, brother. Who do you think that may get upset by Bethune? I know that's a broad question, but
Let me see. I got that schedule up too. So
yeah.
that's from last year. This year. All right. So they play Memphis. They in Memphis. That's a loss. They'll win against Savannah State. They play the U down there in Miami. That's a loss. Jackson State in at the vet. That's a loss. Alabama State. It's a swing. I can swing that. So I got them right now. Well, let's see. One win right now. Two one win, three losses. So I'm holding off on the Alabama State. Texas Southern, that would be a loss. And that's their homecoming. They go down, they play Southern and oh yeah, they in Jacksonville. So I got them losing against Southern. They play Grambling in the hole, so I give them a loss. Valley, that's a swing too. Both of them playing, both of them rebuilding. Alabama A&M, they if it was 2 years ago, I would say they would win that game, but I think A&M will beat Bethune, and then they lose against FAMU at the end of the season. So more likely, I got them going 3-8 in his first year.
Hey man, that's showing love to Bethune, man, because I've heard people say one win. I don't believe that. Um, if they shoot if Bethune wins 4 games, man, that's a big accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
If they win 4 wins with that schedule, give the coach of the year. And I'm being sarcastic, but I'm just showing respect though.
Yeah, to take a team that he inherited, that had all the issues and the turmoil, not only with the program but with the the school administration. Yeah, I give it to him. I give him respect. And then we didn't even do Texas Southern schedule.
Yeah, I was just about to bring it.
We
You
didn't
read my
do
mind, bro.
Valley. We didn't do Valley. We didn't do Texas Southern. And then uh let's see who else we didn't do. I
Southern.
think so no, we did Southerns.
Okay, yeah,
Or we didn't do Pine Bluff.
yeah.
Because it
Pine
was like
Bluff.
because we said they was all in rebuild mode. We was all in rebuild mode, but we was trying to move on to try to do other schedules in for the MEAC. And we only did 5 out of 6 because we didn't even do the. I think we didn't do Delaware State, and after that we did Tennessee State's and A&T.
Let's talk on Texas Southern real quick. They're a bit of a wild card team just because they got
Mm-hmm.
a quarterback in Body who Andrew Body is very talented, and they got Quay Davis added to that arsenal of offense. Um, Man, they could go either way. They got once underclassmen, now upperclassmen. Man, what do you think they're gonna be doing?
From my boy Craig Hall, you know what I'm saying, who is real close to the program. And he sees everything in that program. Uh Texas Southern has to jump out early against Prairie View in the first game because I feel like if you win, because I think they're the only other team that plays uh, 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 a conference game at the beginning of the season, other than um, FAMU and Jackson, where with FAMU says that the Orange Blossom Classic is the first game of the season for FAMU, and that will be our second game of the season for Jackson. Texas Southern has to jump out early on on, on Prairie View. Now, granted, last season they had a 2 hour rain delay, and then after that rain delay, they proceeded to throw 2 interceptions, and that turned into 14 quick points. And basically, they was playing behind the whole game. And anytime they got within a respectable amount, Prairie View they quick strike the score. So I kind of don't see that happening this season because they're playing them in the shell down there in Houston. Um, I say I have Texas Southern winning the game, not by a lot, but by close.
Man, it just all depends on just everything coming together. Is the once 60 I believe 60 underclassmen now upperclassmen, do they know how to win now? And that
Mm-hmm.
first game against PV is going to tell everyone how it's going to go down. If they win that game, maybe Texas Southern can win more games than we all think.
Yeah. So my whole thing too is, and talking to Craig, he said that if Clarence McKinney, like if Jason Marsh as the offensive coordinator is not getting it together, not getting it done, is Clarence McKinney going to step up and say, I got to take control of this? You know what I'm saying? Is Clarence McKinney going to step up and say, let me take control of this? Don't know. We don't know because in the end, his job is on the line.
Well, if I'm Clarence McKinney, I'm not letting anyone mess up my team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not letting anyone mess up a potential. When you bring back so many players, especially a quarterback that's better than a lot in the SWAC, that's better than a lot of overall HBCUs, you
Yeah.
have to take advantage of that. So, all my advice to Coach McKinney, he's a head coach, so he knows more than me. But my advice is, don't let anyone ruin something special. If you feel like you need to take control of play calling to get more creative, to score more on teams, do it. But it's a hit and miss with Texas Southern. If Texas Southern hits,
It's a
shoot,
problem.
they could have a winning record that's not even predictable.
It's a problem. And they could go and they can represent the West in the SWAC.
Let me read this. Kenny Banks says, "I'm ready to see how FAMU deal with being the hunted. I think FAMU will embrace being the hunted, but I think at the same time they're gonna play with a sense of urgency. And the good thing about FAMU's roster, they have upperclassmen who have been there before. They may have not won the SWAC, but they had close games with Jackson State. Besides that blowout 59-0, the last three matchups, like brother um, brother Campbell stated, were close games.
They play games.
They were close games. So we got to give them their due. Um, those first two games, and I know it's going to sound like a broken record since we mentioned it multiple times. It's going to tell everything we need to know about FAMU.
Yep.
How do they handle getting hit first? Let's say they play against Jackson State and Jackson State scores in their opening drive. How do they respond?
Now
And
they
that's the
always
job
gotta
of
have
Jeremy Musa to calm everyone down and say, hey, we're talented. We have the team to win it all. Let's take our time with these drives and try to score and maintain a lead.
I say how if FAMU can hold Jackson to, let's say that on their first drive to hold them to 3 points, what are you gonna do then? You know what I'm saying? Because you have to come out and be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. You can't be passive and think
Facts.
that they got 3 points. Uh, you got them on the ropes. No, you got to go out there and be aggressive. And if
It,
you ain't aggressive, you ain't aggressive enough. Jackson gonna go out there and they gonna expose it and they gonna get on your head. So that 3 points they done scored probably done turned into another 17, 20 points. Now how you gonna respond by playing from behind? These are all just, you know what I'm saying? These are all just questions, ifs.
yeah, man. Kenny Banks says Jeremy Musa don't respond well to pressure in his face. JSUD lines legit fellas. They're very talented. Now, when we mention the run game, I think the family run game is going to be improved with the offensive line additions. If the run game just if they can get about 3.5 yards per carry against JSU, you would love to be four more, but just say 3.5 yards per carry. It's a lot better than the last matchup last year. Then Jeremy Musa doesn't have to do everything.
Right.
He can methodically just move the offense efficiently.
Right. Because you don't have to put it all on the shoulders.
Yes.
But if
So
you can't respond
last
to it,
question before we roll, man. This we're gonna have to have a part two on this, especially on the MEAC, my brother. Um, if Jackson State, and this is the last thing, if Jackson State or FAMU does not win the SWAC, who else would be in contention to win it if those two do not win it?
I'll say Prairie View. I'll say you would say Prairie View. Um, uh, you'd say Alcorn, but I don't have Alcorn. They say I don't have Alcorn 10-1. You say Texas Southern?
Okay. Yeah, Texas Southern is the wild card team. Of course, I think like we both agree on that. If everything just goes well for them, they could be in contention from that. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. But what about Southern? You didn't mention Southern.
Nah, I
I
don't
think
see Southern. I don't see. I mean, they could be in contention, but
yeah,
I don't see them.
pretty much see it till you believe it.
Right. And we all seen how Dooley is when it comes to QBs. If
Mm-hmm.
Dooley mess up, is he gonna be? Is he gonna still be stubborn and keep his QB in, or is he gonna yank him out and go for somebody that's, you know what I'm saying, that can get the job done?
No doubt, my brother, man. I can't wait for the season. It's almost here. We're gonna do another stream like this. I just gotta pick a day. Doc, you're welcome to this channel anytime, man. Support his channel. Subscribe to Doc Holiday, HBCU Overdrive, one of the most underrated channels on YouTube. And one thing I appreciate about Doc, man, if he had a question or something, he don't mind asking it. That's what we got to do as content creators. Lend a helping
Mm-hmm.
hand, help those who want to grow their channel, and treat it like a brotherhood, man. This is not YouTube should be about building, not buffoonery or arrogance. And this is why I appreciate brothers like HBC Overdrive, Swac Buzz, Hoop Jargon, Ken Clark Show, and many others. You know, we got with Blue Bloods. We go all day, bro. Tomorrow Leader Sports
Yeah.
Network, the Blitz City podcast. We would go all day if we list all the names. Any last words before we roll, my brother? This is a great show.
And let's see, tomorrow, bro, I'm doing the schedules. I'm doing a preseason breakdown of SIAC, CIAA football. Because now we don't really talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really talk about that. Uh, that I think that'll be on the plate for tomorrow. So everybody tune in at 7 tomorrow night. And then after that, you know how we do it. I'll roll everybody over. King Clark show at 9 o'clock.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Thank you for tuning in, my brother.
Oh yeah, already. Happy birthday though, too.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that was Doc right there. And thank you to everyone that uh, hit up the Cash App that you see in the screen for my birthday, man. I appreciate all the birthday love. I'm gonna get to everyone. Your boy's 31 years old and counting, but it's truly a blessing. This channel is a blessing. This channel is very therapeutic to me because I get to speak to the family, and we could just talk about sports. One thing about it, sports, I don't mind the back and forth, the rivalries, but we got to have respect for one another. Because I always say we got to operate as grown folks, not kids. Most of you that follow this channel are grown. So on this channel, we're not going to be on that buffoonish tilt. If whoever wins these matches, if FAMU beats Jackson State, if Jackson State beats FAMU, just promise at the end of the day, after the trash talk, that's definitely going to be there. Let's have some respect for one another. That's all I ask for. Shout out to thank you, Blue Bloods, for the birthday shout out. Thank you, Cedric Walker, for the birthday shout out. Christopher Dukes, what's good, my brother? Coach Simmons, subscribe to his channel. Right, Cedric Walker. Sports creates a community. This is what it's all about. Now, I don't mind trash talk, but there's a way about it, man. Y'all know what good trash talking is just utterly disrespect is. So all I ask for is just rep your school, have fun with it, because we all don't know everything. We don't know what these teams gonna be. What if Alcorn State is 10-1? I don't think they're gonna be 10-1. But what if they prove me wrong, man? What if Jackson State goes undefeated in the SWAC, which will be tough? Then they'll prove a lot of people. What if FAMU goes undefeated in the SWAC or loses one game? You never know what can happen. Well, the SWAC is going to be one of the most, you heard it first, entertaining leagues. Now, I'm not going to go off and say one of the best leagues in the FCS because there's a lot of great teams in the FCS. Let's not be stupid now. The SWAC has a long way, but they're trending up. This is a process. It takes a while for the SWAC to be like the Missouri Valley Conference. But as of right now, they're trending up, meaning the SWAC. And that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. I just want the SWAC. I really want all HBCUs, but I want the SWAC